Hi everyone, nice Friday afternoon. The weather's really held out up here in Cairns, so it's been great. But unfortunately I've got bad news to report again from Victoria. Probably the worst kept secret. Probably everybody knows this already, but Miles will report it in any case. 627 cases of coronavirus reported yesterday, and there were 8 deaths. Now, I suppose you could say that's good news. There were 13 the previous day, but it's a bit of a roller coaster, so I think we need to look for trends here, and that's more important. But there's a couple of disturbing aspects to this latest information regarding the coronavirus down there, and that is that there apparently is a young doctor who's in ICU in very poor shape. Obviously, they're in ICU. Now, what's the worry there is that they're in the wrong age group. If they're defined as a young doctor, I'm presuming we're talking in the early 20s, and it is maybe there is a trend happening here that younger people are becoming more vulnerable with this new strain. That is a bit of a worry. And the second real worry is that apparently 25% of Victorians are basically thumbing their noses at the quarantine. And again, this is predictable given that the government has been inconsistent with its messaging, allowing people to demonstrate en masse, yet telling everybody now they have to be isolated. It just doesn't make sense, and people know this, and they have lost respect for the government. So this is the consequence of what's happening, and unfortunately it's not just poor Victorians who are paying, it's everybody in Australia. And of course the economy is getting really hammered because of it, so not good news. And getting back to my favourite young girls, the ladies, in inverted commas, who basically lied to Border Patrol police when they came back into Queensland. Well, the latest is that they're alleged to be connected to crime syndicates. So I guess we shouldn't be surprised by this, but it just makes you really wonder. And again, it makes you wonder, is really $4,000 fine sufficient for each of these people, given the gravity of the damage that they've inflicted on everybody by spreading this virus? Now, apparently they were going to many different locations in Brisbane once they reached Queensland. So they've just shown absolutely zero responsibility. A couple of stupid hedonistic girls who couldn't give a stuff about their community responsibilities, and the best we can come up with as a deterrent is a $4,000 fine. Piss weak. Yeah, but it's okay because the person who's the most knowledgeable regarding these girls is one of their mothers, and of course she just thinks that she's an angel and that this trip to Melbourne was totally fabricated. I don't see how that could possibly be. If they landed in Queensland and saw border police, they'd have documentation saying they came from Melbourne. I mean, it's not exactly hard to look at the records. I mean, this is just ludicrous. And speaking of ludicrous, it gets even worse. These girls, when they came back, were feeling sick, but no, what would you do when you feel sick? You go to bed. Normal person would, or they'd probably try to recuperate. No, they went out and partied. I mean, I've got no time for them. I'm sorry, I may sound harsh, but I think this sort of behaviour just has to be trampled on. It's ridiculous. And another subject that's close to me, I just am absolutely amazed that there's not more publicity about this, is this absolute dud $225 billion subcontract. It's blown out to that amount. And that equates, to make it sort of come home to you, it is $9,000 per Australian citizen. You do the math. $225 billion for this obsolete submarine, and divided by 25 million people, which I think is a fair indication of our current population. $9 grand each we pay for this, and there's no guarantee it's going to do the job that we need it to be done, and there's no guarantee that these subs will be delivered on time. Remember, these are submarines that have been designed by the naval group in France to be nuclear subs, and we are asking for them to basically design them down to a diesel electric inferior sub, which costs a bucket load of money and reduces their capability substantially. Not only that, get this, the actual batteries in these subs are going to be lead acid batteries. Scooter that I bought, the electric scooter, that actually had lithium ion batteries. But we can't get the same technology for a submarine that hasn't even been built yet. We're going to go with old lead acid batteries. This is just absurd. I've just had a gutful of politicians having the wool pulled over their eyes. We are being scammed big time by this contract. I just think it is on the nose so much. Now there are the other thing to remember too about this is I personally think if we're going to buy these subs from this particular company, we'll buy them off the shelf and they'll be nuclear. We need to get the expertise to be able to run a nuclear fleet of 12 subs, but it'd actually be cheaper than actually downgrading them to the diesel electric. The only advantage apparently of having diesel electric subs is that they are actually more stealthy in shallower waters, just around where, say, the iron ore is exported and liquid natural gas. That's the thinking of the defence planners in Australia. So it's just really close to our coastline that these subs could operate. But I think we need a combination of subs that can actually operate in the South China Sea, where obviously tensions are rising by the hour virtually, and these conventional subs could have a place for close surveillance around Australia. Why not have both types of subs? I mean, you wouldn't have as much economy of scale, but we could buy conventional diesel electric subs from somewhere else, and they wouldn't have to go through all this trauma and time delay of having the things redesigned to be downgraded from nuclear. I mean, just the whole thing is a schmozzle, and it just indicates how inept some of our politicians are. I mean, and of course the Defence Department has to take blame as well. I think it's a scandal, and I really believe that we need an inquiry into this because it is just too important. We do need to do something about the Collins-class submarines, but we need to do it right. I'd rather there be a delay if it's a difference between us absolutely botching it, which is the way it appears to be going, or do it this way. Interestingly too, the French submarines are slightly different to the American UK subs. They use highly enriched uranium, which enables them to use the same fuel for the whole 30-year lifetime of the sub. But with the French ones, they're using a lower concentration of radiation and it actually is it has to be refueled over the lifetime of the sub. So we'd have to be sending the subs back there for that reason as well. So that's a bit of a logistical problem itself. I don't know. I just don't know what they're thinking. I am really worried about where the way money's spent. And I can't believe that you got a picture of ScoMo laughing his head off, thinking it's a great deal. They all look just so happy with themselves behind this table, they're looking at the camera. I mean, Jesus, what planet are these people on? Seriously, it's really important to get this right, especially the way things are going between Australia and China. But again, ScoMo just thinks it's peachy that we're just still exporting all that iron ore. He doesn't think there'll be any interruption to the trade relationship between Australia and China, even if China ends up using the iron ore to build weaponry to fire back at us. I mean, I can't work it out. Am I missing something? Please tell me. Tell me if I'm missing something, because I just don't get it. Oh, almost forgot. There is some good news today. I'll finish this day off on a high note, because I have been a bit on the cranky side, as you can tell. The good news is, finally at Boca Chica, you know, good old Boca Chica, Texas, by now I keep harping about it, they actually did have a static fire test. So it meant that the Raptor engine attached to the flying water tank actually did fire up for a short time. And here's the footage here in the background, you can have a look at it. And everything seemed to go well. So fingers crossed to the to the nth degree, I might add, we get a hop. Please, please, can we have a hop? I want to see the damn thing get off the ground. And then I'll be slightly pleased, but I'm still waiting for that suborbital flight as well. I'm a greedy bastard, I admit it, but at least we're now waiting for the hop. Will it happen? Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever. And either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great. But please don't ignore me. That's the worst thing you can do on YouTube, is be ignored.